There is a special technique that consultants use to draft their slide presentations. This is a technique that I've never seen anybody use outside of consulting. In this video, I'm going to spill the tea on a technique that I used almost every day when I was a project lead at McKinsey and when I needed to draft the presentations that then I wanted the whole team to work on. Welcome to another coffee break here on my channel Firm Learning. My name is Heinrich and here on my channel I want to help you become successful in the first years of your career. In this channel I'm sharing my tips and strategies that I learned at McKinsey and now working in a C-level role at a German retailer. But now let's jump right into it. How do consultants draft their presentations? And to give you a sneak peek what the end product will be, I will show you an actual presentation that I recently drafted where I used this technique. So this is how it looks like, guys. So I'm holding this now in the camera. I hope that you are able to see this. This is something that is called a Mickey Mouse Master or also a Strawman. It is a draft of a presentation that typically the project lead or the partner in a consulting context creates. I remember in one of the very first weeks I was working at McKinsey, the project lead of that study asked me to sit with him. He would just take a piece of paper and he would create a master just like that of the presentation. Then he gave it to me and then this was one of my very first tasks at McKinsey, just to create a whole slide presentation just following exactly this technique. So how exactly does it work? How do you create such a Mickey Mouse Master or such a Strawman? So in order to show you now, I have my computer here in front of me. Usually you will rather do it on a piece of paper, but just for recording purposes this is a bit easier. And you will always start by creating a basic grid on your paper, just to resembling the slides. And now of course the idea is that each of these squares resembles an individual page later in the presentation. So what you will always start with is to come up with the action titles of the slides. The action titles are very special types of titles. If you have no idea what action titles are, these are a key concept when creating PowerPoint presentations, and I will insert a link somewhere above where I explain you exactly what an action title is and how you set it up. If you don't know what it is, really check it out because it's super important to create consulting style presentations. So, but you do that now by writing it here. And let's now, for instance, just talk about a company that wants to improve costs or anything like that. Then a first slide could, for instance, say company is in market with X% growth. So just in the beginning, you maybe want to lay the scene and just say, okay, actually the market environment is doing quite well and the market is growing. And what you will usually do is just you will do a brief version of the action title. It doesn't need to be the perfect version already. It's just a brief sketch of what the action title is supposed to be in the end. And then what you also do is just you do a basic sketch of the type of chart, the type of graph that you want. So here, for instance, you could do a bar chart, maybe with a CAGR inserted, just to give you a gist of what is going on. Then the next one could maybe be that you want to highlight that the company actually is under competitive pressure. So market share of company is decreasing due to competition. And here, for instance, you could do some relative bar charts where they're all 100% just to show how the market share of a company changed over time. So if this is now the market share, you might want to depict that this is now going down. Next, maybe you want to show how the profitability of the company will be affected in the long term. So for instance, you could now do a waterfall chart from 2020 to 2021. Say profitability will go down by 200,000. And then maybe next to propose a couple of measures. So for instance, there could be 3 areas now, right, where you believe that the company needs to improve on in order to survive and to make a shift in this new environment. And then next, maybe there will be some backups for these 3 parts, 1, 2, and 3, explaining how exactly exactly these measures are supposed to look like. And then you can here insert a couple of notes on what exactly is supposed to be inserted here. Next, maybe there's a timeline for the project. When will this be completed? And then you write the project timeline goes until end of 2021. This is probably not the best action title, but just something in this line. And then you maybe draft a Gantt chart if this is now impossible to understand how this might look like. And so on and so forth. So I hope you get the idea what I'm looking for. This is then how you will draft the whole presentation. And then of course this is then a piece of paper that you will give on to your associate, or if you're the partner, maybe you then share it with the team or with the project lead, asking them to create the presentation like this. But you can also use it the other way around. So if you are an associate and you have an idea of how to structure a document that now you want to create, now instead of really writing it all out, instead of already creating the whole document and only then getting the feedback that maybe your project lead actually wants to do it the whole other way around, what I always found a super great way to do is just briefly sketching your presentation in such a way, sketching it in this way where you have then the whole document, the whole presentation on paper. You then go to your project lead with this piece of paper and then you discuss the presentation, the whole flow of the pages, the whole storyline, just as you have it in your head based on such a piece of paper. And this will always lead to a very great and constructive discussion with your team lead. And the best thing is, drafting something like this will only take you a couple of minutes. So you haven't really invested lots of work. And if you find out that then actually your project lead would like to do it completely different, would like to tell the story in a completely different way, you haven't already wasted time creating slides that in the end will not even be used. And this is something that unfortunately happens quite a lot in consulting, but I trust many corporate jobs as well. While editing this video, I just want to use this opportunity to make you aware of my online course on slide writing presentations. I created an online course that already has over 10,000 students enrolled in it, teaching you all the things I learned at McKinsey of how to create consulting style slide presentations. So if you think this is something that might interest you, check out the link in the video description with a link to that course. Thank you guys, but now let's continue with the video. I hope this was clear and you found this little introduction into drafting presentations in the style of top management consultancies helpful. Of course, as always, if you have any questions, let me know, write me a comment below in the comment section and I will do my very best to answer every single one. If you took any value at all out of this video, please hit the like button. This really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and also subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. If you want to see even more content from me, I also have an Instagram, the handle is Firm Learning, and I have an email mailing list with regular content as well. You can find a sign up link to the mailing list below in the video description. Thanks for watching, I really enjoyed this, very much appreciate that all of you took this time on this Saturday. See you next week. I release at least one video every week on Saturdays. Until then, great weekend to all of you.